We've seen how iDROP Web and iDROP Lite combine to provide quick and easy access to your iRODS data, wherever a computer with a web browser is available. The iDROP desktop application adds powerful capabilities to this suite of functionality. Like iDROP Lite, the iDROP desktop application allows you to directly connect to your iRODS grid and reliably transfer files between your computer and the grid, and also between different locations within the grid. iDROP Desktop can be launched from the iDROP Web interface by selecting the iDROP Desktop tab. When you press Launch, Java Web Start is used to download and start the iDROP client. After logging in, you can see that iDROP Desktop is running in the system tray of your computer. And also, the iDROP browser interface for iDROP Desktop has started. Using this interface, we can browse through our familiar iRODS tree, we can also view our local file system, and see an info panel that shows data from the iRODS metadata catalog. A key feature of iDROP Desktop is its ability to manage multiple very large file transfers in an asynchronous manner. Using the GUI, you can create a queue of transfers, and then you can close the GUI and let it run. Let's create a test folder on iRODS. Now that I have this folder created, we can select multiple files from our local file system and multiple collections and schedule some transfers. As I select these nested collections of data, they're added to the queue. At the bottom of the GUI, you can see the current progress. Let's also pick a collection from iRODS and choose to transfer that back to our local file system. So here we see the progress of the first transfer, and we can go ahead and close the GUI. You can see here in the system tray that iDROP indicates it's working. In the background, iDROP Desktop is managing the transfers and tracking file-by-file success or failure. We can look at currently running transfers using the Queue Manager. Here you can see the current transfer, as well as other transfers that are scheduled to run. Further down in the list, you can see transfers that were previously accomplished. The error status of each transfer is noted. So let's take a look at the currently running transfer, and you can see its current state. It's about halfway done. And if we select Transfer Details, we can see a file-by-file accounting of each individual file transfer. Note that according to the preferences we've set, a local checksum is computed for each file that's being transferred to iRODS. That checksum is being sent to iRODS and compared against the final file stored in iRODS, so we know that a transfer success not only means the file arrived, but that it arrived with an integrity check that indicates a valid transfer. If an error did occur, we could see an error message for each individual file. So using the features of iDROP Desktop, a large number of complex transfers can be scheduled. Then you can go back later and verify that the operations you specified were completed. Transfers may also be canceled or restarted if an error occurs. iDROP uses the queue feature to provide file synchronization. As you can see here, synchronization relationships can be defined between your local file system and iRODS. iDROP will then periodically, based on your synchronization frequency, compare your local file system to the iRODS file system. In cases where changes have been made, the local changes will be pushed up to iRODS. It's important to note that if a file is changed on the local file system that already exists in iRODS, then a timestamp backup of the previous version of the iRODS file is saved before the new file is pushed. We currently support local to iRODS synchronization with iRODS to local and bidirectional synchronization planned for later releases. We'll cover iDROP Desktop in detail in later videos. Together, the tools in the iDROP suite provide easy access to your grid, whether you need to download one file or transfer hundreds of thousands of files to the cloud. Note that RESTful API and mobile interfaces for Android and iPhone are planned for later releases. The iDROP suite extends the power of the iRODS policy-managed data grid through easy-to-use client interfaces.